What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. Well, the usual suspects are coming out now, man, because, I knew somebody was going to go against the grain and somehow legitimize or try to legitimize what Anthony Edwards said recently. Now, we all know Anthony Edwards foolishly stated that Michael Jordan was the only skilled player of his era, right? So apparently, Gilbert Arenas co-signs what Anthony Edwards says, stating that basically all of Jordan's competition were at a disadvantage because they didn't have the physical tools to keep up with him, right? And basically the implication is if he played today, he wouldn't be as dominant because he wouldn't have had all these advantages of guys being super slow, I guess, right? So this is what he said.
These guys really didn't have skill like that.
Jordan, not like that. See, there's a key word from Jordan. Not like that. Jordan is level 10. It's like a car, dog. All Jordan's competition in that era did not even have the physical tools to keep up with him. So he was basically a Bugatti, and everybody else was a Honda, Civic, and all the shooting guards were 6'4" and under. They didn't have no jumping ability, right? So who he went against, he's saying they wasn't talented, meaning they wasn't athletic to keep up with him. Today, everybody, I got a 40-something. Everybody I'm going against has a 40-inch vertical that can jump with me.
So he's saying like nobody was a Bugatti like Mike. Mm-hmm. What I'm saying is a Bugatti's only good when it's going this way, and it's going fast. It's one-dimensional. It looks good and it goes fast. You know what this Honda can do?
I can't stand more of this dumb monkey stuff, man. Let's get something straight here. Yeah, I'm not an NBA player. I didn't play, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes I get the impression like if you didn't play basketball professionally, then you shouldn't talk about basketball. You know what I mean? But whatever. So you can't have it both ways. You can't sit up there and say, well, first of all, before I even go into that, he's making a totally different argument from what Ant said. Ant said these guys weren't skilled. Okay? That's what he said. He said these players weren't skilled. Gilbert Arenas is now making it about athletics, right? So which one is it? On the one hand, everybody keep talking about how these players, they are so quote-unquote skilled. They can shoot. They have handles, et cetera, right? That's what they pretty much mean by that. But then now Gilbert is saying, oh, but these guys weren't really good athletes. Then how the fuck they make the NBA? They're not skilled. They're not great athletes. We're not talking about big men, right, who just 7 feet tall. You can just make the argument, oh, you only got in the league because you're 7 feet tall. Then you're saying these guards are 6'4". There's a whole bunch of 6'4" Abe Lincolns walking around. How they make the NBA? They got no skills. What are we doing here? And then another thing that I don't understand is you're talking about these guys can't keep up with Mike, right? But you're forgetting. Let's just say that was part of the equation, that Jordan was a super athlete. We all know that. But you're limiting him to just his athleticism. We've seen a lot of great athletes play basketball. And it couldn't really sustain a career because he didn't have skill set. Yeah, the physicality meant a lot back then. The athletic advantage meant a lot back then, yeah. As it does today. But you're trying to tell me all these guys that they are such great athletes? So you're trying to tell me Luka Doncic gonna stop Michael Jordan? Slow-footed ass drunk foot, sloth speed, Luka Doncic gonna stop people, right? Kyrie Irving is tremendously skilled, right? Did he have a super series against the Boston Celtics? I saw Jaylen Brown and Al Horford, of all people, shut him down at times. So all this crap about these guys are so super skilled, it just gets on my, it's such bullshit. And then, what's the one thing that was slowing down Michael Jordan in his earlier years, aside from his team not being that great and not being ready for that next level? It wasn't his athleticism. It was dealing with the physicality of the game. Because you got to remember, the defensive players were able to do more to resist players. That's what he was struggling with. That's why in 1990, he finally went into the weight room. It was his skills. Yeah, his athleticism meant something. But as he got older and he lost some of his athleticism, it was the skills, his ability to be able to score in the post, his high IQ, plus his ball handling and his craftiness that made him unstoppable. Not his supposed super athleticism. And then this guy gonna mention Spud Webb. Like everybody that he was competing against were Muggsy Bogues and Spud Webbs. Okay, they tried to do the same thing with Kobe. Oh, he was going up against Earl Boykins. So let me get this right. So we don't remember an NBA where he competed against a Clyde Drexler. We don't remember an NBA where he was competing against Anthony Hardaway pitched here. Anthony Hardaway pitched here. We don't remember Michael Finley. We don't remember Jerry Stackhouse, J.R. Ryder. What are you talking about? There were a lot of tremendously athletic players in the NBA in the perimeter in the guard position. I don't know what you're talking about here. Hell, Kevin Johnson was a point guard and he was dunking on Olajuwon. Dunking over Hot Rod Williams' head. What are you talking about? They're trying to have both ways, bro. They're trying to make it that he didn't have any competition that was athletic, and they're saying they didn't have skill. So how they make the NBA? What were we watching then? What were we watching then? A bunch of fat guys playing basketball in a garage or something? And they driveway, I meant to say. What is this argument? Like? And then they keep making these stupid low IQ you know what I'm saying, lowbrow comparisons. You gotta, because your audience black, you gotta compare them to a car. That's comparing to something that this is ridiculous. My bad. I had to mute the mic just there. I had to talk to somebody about something. But anyway, this is ridiculous. But you know, Gilbert Arenas is an agent. Pardon the pun. He's an agent, in my opinion, for Clutch Sports. It's his job to go out there and present an argument to further deconstruct Michael Jordan's legacy, and by extension, uplifting LeBron's. I want to argue this. Where are all these elite athletes that LeBron went against at the small forward position, other than Paul George. Because Paul Pierce ain't no super athlete. Kawhi Leonard is a good athlete when he was healthy. But he's, he seems to be on the decline physically. Maybe some other guys. But what are all these super athletes he's competing against? And anyway, isn't this a league more predicated on shooting? I don't be seeing all these guys doing these super duper dunks. And don't forget, it was a white boy that won the 1996 slam dunk contest when Michael Jordan was playing, right? Brent Barry, right? The last two winners, the last two slam dunk winners is a guy that isn't even really in the NBA. Teams got to sign him to like a 10-day contract to get that dude in the NBA. He's not even good enough to be in the league. So really, he's not even in the NBA. You got role players competing in the dunk contest, and they're so boring that the NBA is considering scrapping the event. But you're saying that they didn't have any athletes in the 80s and 90s. But you had big men. You had guards. You had all types of great players competing in the slam dunk contest. Dominique Wilkins. Okay, you know what I'm saying? He was a small forward, but you have Dominique Wilkins. Spud Webb. He mentions Spud Webb, right? But didn't Spud Webb have a 46-inch vertical leap? Kenny Walker. D. Brown won a slam dunk contest. Cedric Ceballos. Harold Miner, who was a role player. Won it twice. A young Kobe Bryant. Vince Carter. Desmond Mason. Remember, Jordan came back and played in the early 2000s. I've already argued before that, to be honest with you, the most athletic era that I've seen in the NBA was the late 90s and 2000s. That was the most athletic before the NBA began to phase out athleticism and move more into shooting. Now, all of a sudden, you want to make the argument this is the most athletic era? Come on, man. Make up your mind. Which one is it? Let me just say this in conclusion. A 40-year-old Michael Jordan was still routinely dropping 25 to 30 points a game in the most athletic era in the NBA, the early to mid-2000s, on a bad knee, right? Playing at the same time that Gilbert Arenas was playing when he was young. Michael Jordan was 225 pounds, the heaviest of his career, 40 years old, a bad knee, cracked ribs he never really healed from, and he still was averaging over 20 points a game in the NBA. You're trying to tell me, and the game was way more physical 20 years ago than it is today. So you're trying to tell me that in his prime, Michael Jordan, with the freedom of moving to do what you want to do offensively, somehow he's going to be lower to the pack. Make that make motherfucking sense, man.